What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross. I like games. I'm a little bit croaky. And today, we need to talk about a new promo card. You see, every so often, over in Japan, they have these little tamer tournaments where they get promo cards that are very much anime-based. Now, the one I'm going to show you today will give you all of the feels if you've watched a particular series. If you haven't, don't worry about it. If you watch enough Digimon, if you catch up, you'll figure it out one day. You'll find out. You'll be told about it. So, you know what? It's all Agumon based. And I'm excited about this card because these cards are always awkward. They're always combo heavy. They always depend on you having a particular combo of cards, etc. But this is one that has the potential to genuinely be really, really good. Now, it's called Taichi, You've Grown Up. Dry your tears. And it is a zero-cost red option card that reads, Main, when you have Yagami Taichi, you may return one of your Agumon to the bottom of your deck and draw 3 cards. That Digimon's evolution sources are discarded. Now, as a security card, it gets added to your hand, which I'm generally not a big fan of, because then you don't really get a huge bonus as a security card. But one thing to bear in mind with Agumon here, or what's it called? Taichi, You've Grown Up. It's a zero-cost card, so having it in your hand for the perfect time is good. Plus, of course, it's super combo heavy. You've got to have an Agumon in play in order to actually use this. Also, for what it's worth, it says Agumon, so Agumon Expert wouldn't count. Bushy Agumon wouldn't count. Toy Agumon wouldn't count. It does need to actually be Agumon here. It is Agumon, not a Digimon with Agumon in its name. That is fairly important, quite frankly. But when you do this, you draw 3 cards. Oh. Yeah, that's really good. Like, really good. Good to the point, we've never seen a Digimon card that can draw 3. Where am I finding this information? I'm looking it up on DigimonCard.dev, obviously. And if you go there and search for draw 3, exactly 1 card comes up. And it's this one. Oh, while we're giving shout out to the lovely Jason Snowjacks over on the Facebook group who has provided our translation. And I love this. You see, over in Pokemon, we have a card called Hop. Except, sometimes it's Hop. Generally, your best friend in the video game gets printed as a card in the trading card game, which will just let you draw 3 cards. But in Pokemon, a card that lets you draw 3 cards is a generic supporter, and the general rule is you play this generic draw 3 card supporter if you don't have any other better supporter cards in your collection. It's given out in starter decks because, you know, it's the best we've got, basically. It's not good, but it'll do. It sees occasional play in really specific decks. But over in Digimon, the prospect of drawing 3 is salivating. The thing is, you've got to have a Yagami Taichi on the field, and you've got to have an Agumon on your field, and you've got to put Agumon back to the bottom of your deck. Now, there are many different Agumon we can talk about, and I'm sure we'll get to all of them, or some of them through the course of the video, but the Agumon I am targeting down here very strongly is the Agumon from the 3rd set, the Agumon from Union Impact. Because that's a 2 cost to play normally. It is, as it stands at the moment, the only Agumon we've had that costs 2 to play normally. But do remember, we've had so many Agumon. I think, as it stands at the moment, we've had 9 Agumon. And we've seen Agumon in red and black and yellow. And we're only 4 sets in. So we can assume there are going to be more Agumon in the future. And some of them are going to be a 2 cost. And with this 2 cost Agumon, I love it. Because essentially, what you're doing is you are paying 2 memory to draw 3 cards. Well, paying 2 memory to draw 3 cards is a very efficient use of resources. Like, Nuclear Laser is an option card that will let you draw 2 cards. As a free cost, you do get a 1000 power bump to one of your Digimon this turn, but it's still 2 cards for free memory, so this is better than that. We can look at something like Boring Storm, which is a 1 cost card that lets you draw 1 card from your deck. Again, that is not as efficient. That's not as good. We can look at something like I mean, in terms of drawing 2, there really aren't very many, unfortunately. Oh, I should say Boring Storm lets you draw 2 if it comes out as a security card. We do also have Heir of Dragons, which has just come out in the 4th set. It's just come out in Great Legend, and that for free cost lets you draw 2 and delete a Digimon with 4,000 power or less if you got a Digimon with Greymon or Dramon in its name, which is alright. But again, in terms of draw, it's not as good. Zudamon lets you draw 2 cards, but Zudamon's also a 7 cost to play normally, and you have to play it normally in order to actually get this skill, and you can probably see where I'm going at this stage. This is the best draw we've got. Now, you can make all kinds of counter arguments about how awkward the card is to play, and that is an absolutely fair point. You've got to have a Yagami Taichi on the field. You've got to either have an Agumon out or play an Agumon. That is fine. I understand all of that. That is not lost on me. But if we are looking at draw and being able to draw a decent amount of cards, this is the best draw that we have seen in the game so far. So it's all about making it work. So the Agumon from Union Impact is clearly a good idea here. 2-cost card. The question then is, do I want to play a 2-cost card to draw 3 cards? And the answer is yes. But it's a point several people have made, and it's one that's really hard to argue with. Well, hang on a second. Why would I do that? Like, if I played this 2-cost card, sure, I played a 2-cost, I put it to the bottom of my deck, and you can do this immediately, unlike attacking. But then I'm losing a Digimon, and next turn I'd be able to attack with that Digimon, or I'd be able to evolve it this turn or next turn, etc., etc. I'd be able to build up a bigger Digimon. And I suppose what you're saying here is you've got to get yourself in the mindset of, I am using this to draw cards. I'm not really playing an Agumon. I am just using it as a 2-cost card to draw 3 cards. Of course, now we're using a 2-card combo to draw 3 cards, and that is less than ideal. But again, this is not a game with lots of draw. You start the game with a 5-card hand. You draw 1 card per turn. You draw 1 card when you evolve. And our drawing options as a whole are generally pretty poor. That's why I like this card. The way I see it is this. If I'm already playing Yagami Taichi in a deck, and I'm already playing Agumon, why would I not also want to play, say, one of these Agumon and go from there and play 1 or 2 of these cards and get myself a little bit of extra draw? Now, I should mention it's not Yagami. Well, it's Yagami Taichi in Japan. It's Taikamiya over here. My apologies. And we've got a bunch of options. We've actually seen Tai in black and yellow and red as well. But the thing is, some of these have seen play. Like, the red Taikamiya is seeing a bunch of play in Booster 1.0 builds that I've seen. Now, not all of them are playing it, but I've seen enough deck lists that are to make me think this is absolutely viable. It's another one of those that when you play it, for every turn then, if you start with 1 or 2 memory, you actually start with 3. And all your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. I do think you have to stick in red if you're playing this, because the 2-cost Agumon is red, and I do think red is by far the best way around it. Which means I think the only other tie you could really seriously consider is a 2-cost one from the starter deck, which give all your Digimon an extra 1,000 power, which I've not seen as much, but I've seen this see a little bit of play here and there. I've seen it popping up in deck lists. And the thing is, I kind of like this. The draw 3 alone makes this interesting to me. The fact that I can draw more cards with this than any other card we've seen so far makes me want to try and get it working. Yes, you've got to have Tai on the field anyway. Yes, you've got to put an Agumon on the bottom of your deck. And if you put it on the bottom of your deck, you cannot attack with it in the future, etc. Fine. But drawing extra cards gets you what you need. We've all seen, I mean, classic example, I say classic example like this game's been out for more than 5 minutes, but classic example is, say, an Omnimon mirror match. You want to get your Omnimon out, it doesn't even need to be a mirror match, to be honest with you, just Omnimon generally. Once you get your Omnimon out, your game's going a lot better. This can help you do that. Now, of course, counter argument, but I'm playing a bunch of Tamers and option cards to help me get my Omnimon out. Might that make my deck less consistent? Well, that depends on you and your deck building and how you play, etc. I'm just pointing it out as an option. I love the art on this card. I love the feels on this card. Mostly, I love that we've gotten a draw free. And here's the thing. If you're watching this part of the video, if you're still watching, thank you very much. Even if you're looking at this card and going, Wossy, I'm loving your enthusiasm, but I just don't think this is a viable card. I can't imagine myself playing it. That's fine. But the thing to remember about this card is this is the first time Digimon have ever printed a draw free. Do we really honestly believe that this is going to be the last time? What they've essentially done is broken one of their previous card design rules. Up till now, they had clearly had a rule that they will not print cards that draw more than 3, or more than 2, draw 3 or above. They've just broken that rule. And I've played enough card games to know that when that rule gets broken once, it often gets broken again and again and again. I like this card. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.